Find functional hilarity at the Biffa Emporium. Girl, it's what I heard. Allegedly, it's just the word. Allegedly, it's on the street. Allegedly, I sing to the beat. Allegedly, lee, lee, lee. Allegedly, lee, lee, lee. Allegedly, lee, lee, lee. Allegedly. Well, let's get to today's top stories. Well, I guess we're starting with the verse story. Sissy Smollett, who is back in Chicago, finally standing trial for allegedly staging the racist and homophobic attack he reported to police and has brought lots of backup. Journey, I know you want to support your brother, but honey, you with the DC universe now. You actually getting some gigs. Don't fart it up behind a fraud. A grand jury indicted Smollett last year on 6 counts of lying to police, although he's pled not guilty to all charges. Now, he said 2 honkies was walking around downtown Chicago at 2 a.m. while he was swishing it onto Subway to get a sandwich. Instead of a snack, he got a smack. And he fought back. He fought back. The gay Tupac fought back. But it turns out it was the Osundario brothers that he had hired and had done drugs with and had massages with. Oh, yes. Google turned in all of their email and text messages. So I don't know if Mother Google was in on this. She might have been, though. I mean, hell, it's the decade of the conspiracy theory. So if you want to say Google in on it, child, Google in on it. The Osundario brothers testified that Sister Smollett, who had paid them off to pretend and perpetrate the fraud of the attack. Why? I guess for press and promo. I would say to get out of his album deal, but he was dropped by Columbia Records. Dropped. I mean, the album never came out. Honey, he was dropped. I mean, like Obama just hit the flow. Hit the flow. Like them album sales hit the floor. He was dropped from his record label. Dropped. So he still had empire. I don't know why this was necessary. But jury selection has begun in the Shah. Now, if it wasn't brick degrees outside, I would be over there. I thought this was going on in the summer, but it is winter in Chicago. That's a no-no for me. And Radar Online gives us a fabulous breakdown of the jurors. According to reports, 6 of the 57 potential jurors that crowded the courtroom were seated, while 10 others were dismissed around 3 p.m. today. Among selected jurors, we include a woman who claims she watched Empire, starring Smollett, and likes to drag race during her spare time. An immigrant who moved to the U.S. from Iraq 12 years ago and is working for a credit union, a man from Canada who's a store manager, a woman from West Suburban Bartlett who works as a counselor at a behavior hospital, a man from Lincoln Park in his 30s in the healthcare field, and a salesman in his 60s. So evidence may be presented tomorrow as early as 7 p.m. I wonder if I can tune in on Zoom. But I will be glued to the screen and I will keep my ears to the streets for all things. Sissy Smollett. Mean Girls star Jonathan Bennett is down for a reboot, prequel, or sequel. Child, you down for it because you ain't getting no work. You ain't nobody's star. You were in the movie for all of 20 minutes at best? You had a couple cute scenes with Lindsay Lohan. Lindsay was a star. Rachel McAdams was a star. Amanda Seyfried was a star. Tina Fey was a star. You, honey, you were a glorified extra. Any crouching sissy hidden bottom could have played that role. Colton Haynes could have done the same shit. Girl, now the thieves have broken into Home Depot. So this is just something that's going on now. People are just like, you know what? Let's just get together and steal. This is terrifying. And then they're going to Home Depot and it's like, you know what? That's probably smart. Get yourself some tools so that way the next time you do this, you're much more effective. And then, you can also put on an addition to the house. Child, hide your tool belt, hide your nails. Portia Williams says she hasn't had any communication with Fallon since she's been shacking up with Simon. Well, what would she call Fallon for? Bad advice? You never flirt with the former floozy. But I gotta say, I feel like Fallon saying "I told you so" through the screen because Portia looked miserable on that show. Miserable. I mean, if I had to wake up next to that, I'd be miserable too. Ooh, I would rather wake up alone and free. In and another one news, Common and Tiffany Haddish have broken up. Common always loves to date like the it black woman of the moment. Erica Badu, Serena Williams, now Tiffany Haddish. I think Jill Scott might have been up in there. But it's always, oh, we're too busy, oh, this, oh, that. He just always manages to wiggle away. You're getting a little too old for this, Common. You might want to settle on down. So Nikki gone tweet out, Candace's husband really needs to sit down ski. And Chris said, all I need to do is defend my wife. You know, for a queen, Nikki, you spend a lot of time arguing with peasants. I would never. In oh hell no news, Brooklyn Chop House Diners gave up tables for Cardi B and Offset. So here's what happened. They showed up without a reservation and wanted the private room. There was a party in there and they were on dessert. So the restaurant brought them a bottle of Cristal and offered them free dessert if they go on and, finish up and leave. So Cardi and China Set could go on in and have their evening with their peoples. I'm sorry, but the whole meal would have to be comped. Please, they can pay for it. Go on and put this meal on their tab. And let me pack some shit up to go since I gotta get to stepping. Since apparently this is an episode of Martin, and I thought I was at the Brooklyn Chop House, but I'm at the Brooklyn Eatin' Step. First you eat, then you step. Ooh, I remember that episode. But the hell? For dessert and a bottle of Cristal that wasn't nobody drinking no way. If you don't get out of my face with that bullshit. So ABC News and Hulu have given us another felonious folly. This time we're discussing the charlatan, Jen Shah. So they take us back to when the show premiered, and they had like a drive-in premiere, I guess, because of the Vive. So we get to Jen Shah's casting tape where she says, I spend $50,000 a month, and had a private plane in the background. Child, y'all was just at a hangar. Y'all was hanging out at a hangar that probably had a restaurant. You had lunch and watched the planes take off. Oh, but now her friend comes on, Koa Jackson, the fashion designer, the one that she was cussing out. He's like, yeah, she spent $80,000 on those parties, $80,000 of other people's money. And now we get to Sissy Stewart, Sissy Stewart. I love the quote, there's something off about Stewart. He looked a little too old to be her assistant. And he does give a lurch tea. Everybody was all here for the wealth and the jewels at first, but we started to ask, where is this money coming from? What do you do? And Jen could never explain it. The stylist telling it all. He like, she ain't owned them furs or that jewelry. Any big pieces you see, they were leased jewelry and rented furs. So Sharif been with her for 20 years and the black girl in the show said, I don't know why he didn't ask, how could we afford to do this? Because you can't spend $50,000 a month. Child, her sissy said, you think she bad on screen? Wait till you see her off camera. She's completely unhinged. So the sissy who leaked the video, her designer, he said, well, there was a bunch of people in the room, so nobody really knows who took the video. It was probably Sissy Stewart or Sissy U. But I could see one of her friends crossing her. I could see Meredith doing it. Or Meredith paying somebody to do it. To avenge Twink Marks. Twink Marks. So her sissy got so sick of the verbal abuse, he just fled back to Hawaii. He said he got his last check in September, but worked with her till January. I don't know how you think you're going to get a full quarter of free work out of me. I'd have plucked every feather off that dress. So we got her aunt on there, and she defending her. I don't know who this woman is on the Housewives, but the person I know has dealt with adversity every day of their lives. So have I. So have you. We all deal with adversity. It don't mean we go out and steal from people, especially the elderly. Fast forward to March 2021, when Jen Shah and Sissy Stewart are arrested. The police said, we never really set up a time to arrest her. We knew there was a camera crew. It just kind of worked out that way. Okay, heifer. Okay, everybody wants to be on the Housewives. Y'all wanted your little moment. So in January 2016, pre-Panty, there was some investigation in New York, Operation Double Down. So this guy in New York that was selling drugs was also involved in Jen Shah's massive telemarketing scheme. In the words of Sigourney Weaver from Heartbreakers, no simultaneous cons. Too many angles, they always go bad. Girl, they took $30,000 and $80,000 from this 90-year-old woman? Just fucking up everybody's inheritance. Oh, they sell you these little $100 like start your internet business packages, and people are like, okay, I'll pay to learn. And then you get on the lead list and they keep calling you and selling you stuff. I want to know how you ended up spending $29,000 when your farm already went bust. They giving out bogus coaching, just telling you to work harder and make more money. Just invest more, invest more. She said I didn't sell one blanket through any of their techniques. I could have set up a stand in front of my house and done better. So Dana Wilkie was investigating along with the feds on her podcast. Dana Wilkie is the heifer who tried to be on Housewives of Beverly Hills with the $25,000 sunglasses but never quite made the cut. So Jen has always been in the telemarketing industry. She worked for this one place called Prosper, which had a very violent work culture, and then she left them and went to Thrive. So Jen Shah ends up getting deposed for her work at Thrive after she had quit because they wasn't treating her like the VP she needed to be. However, Thrive ended up having to pay $27 million in fines for deceptive practices. I guess that's where she learned her deceptive practices. The government says they went from selling lead lists to non-existent services through shell companies in Kosovo, exchanging messages on encrypted services. Honey, if you gotta do all that, ain't it just easier to make some legal money? Now they got this sweet black lady in Atlanta who just wanted to open a health and wellness business from her home since everybody was stuck at home during the VI, and she ordered a social media package for $1,000. $1,000? Girl, y'all gotta get on Fiverr. Then a few months later, her website just goes down. Boom. Can't get in contact with nobody, can't get no help, and then she realizes she's been had. You put in 18 grand? I don't even think I spent that on all of my advertising in real estate, and I did real estate for like 3 years. Damn. So when Jen was arrested, she has no assets. She had to use $250,000 cash to secure her bond. But where'd she get $250K in cash from? The government's real good at not letting you use any money that they think has been criminally obtained. So a couple of lawyers on the show were saying how they would defend her, and basically they're like, well, she didn't actually dial the numbers and scam the people. She just gave the leads to bad companies. So it's the bad company's fault. She just sells leads. If somebody decides to buy a lead sheet and do criminal behavior with it, well, that you can't hold her responsible. I don't think that shit gonna fly. I think she going down. Also, there's no defense for selling non-existent product. That ain't gonna work. The one lawyer said, I don't know why she's filming while she's facing charges, because she got to put as much money away as she can before she heads up the river, because she got to pay her lawyers, because she got kids that need to go to school, and she's got to put some coin away before she gets hit with that restitutu. Ain't shit else for her to do. And Sissy Stewart has turned state's evidence against charlatan Shah. He pled guilty. He could have ended up with 70 years, but he'll be sentenced in a few months. He said he did conspire to fraud the elderly. He realized Jen wasn't going to save him. If he's lucky, he'll be out and broke when he's in his 70s, because he looked like he in his 60s. One of the investigating officers said getting restitution for the victims is our #1 priority. Coach Shah, you better get a divorce and get it quick. Restitutu ain't for you. Then again, what did you know and when did you know it? Could this be an Erica Jane where you get hit with legal suits too, boo-boo? You see, legal money, there might be a little less, but it ain't a headache after the fact. So because Sissy Stewart is so entrenched in her business, since he's turned state's evidence, she could really be screwed. After all, he knows where the bodies and the pussy is buried. And that was pretty much the shit. I mean, we got a little new information, but it wasn't all that. Well, those were today's top stories from this bottom, and so I'll see you soon for something. Alleged what? Alleged who? Allegedly. Allegedly. Don't blame, don't sue. Allegedly. Allegedly. Allegedly.